can sit cross-legged, we can sit on our knees, we can sit with our legs out in front, just however feels good. And again, we're just going to take those few moments here just to arrive. So again, just kind of finding that posture, however it may be. And again, we can just start to close the eyes, shift our awareness again a little bit more inwards. And then again, we can just start to, again, from that internal perspective, bring our awareness to our body. So again, do you want to kind of, or our posture really, do you want to kind of roll the shoulder blades back and down, lift up a little bit through the sternum, back of the neck is long, chin is slightly tucked in, eyes are lightly closed. And again, the lower back is in a neutral position. So we are going to play around a little bit with bandhas tonight, with our pranayama practice, also with our physical practice. So again, just that little bit of kind of awareness here. So maybe just like a little bit of drawing of the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha in yogic terms. And then again, we're just going to shift that awareness to the breath. And just become aware of that inhalation and the exhalation as that breath starts to deepen. And again, we can just start to breathe into that yogic breath or the free part breath. So again, start to breathe into that belly or the diaphragm. Up into the chest, up into the collarbone. So again, we're filling the whole of the lungs. And then again, we can breathe out of the diaphragm, out of the chest, and out of the collarbones. And again, we can breathe in for that count of 6. And again, as we exhale, just having that longer exhalation. Again, maybe breathing out for count of 8 or 10. Again, just a few more rounds. And then we're just going to come into that little ujjayi breath. So this is where we start to kind of slightly close up the gluteus as we make that ha sound, breathing in and out through the nose. So again, that very vocal sound. And again, with that ujjayi breath, we talk about it in the books, breathing from heart to throat. And ujjayi means victorious. It's that really kind of big, open-chested breath. And then the final little part of the pranayama practice we're going to do here is we're going to play around a little bit with bandhas. So again, bandhas are those internal kind of locks. We use them as kind of muscle locks, but we can also use them kind of in your pranayama as kind of prana locks, or kind of stopping your energy or retaining your energy at prana. So again, as we inhale here, The next time we exhale, we draw up the pelvic floor, that Mula Bandha. We suck in the belly, Uddiyana Bandha. And once all the air is left the lungs, we come into Jalandhara Bandha, which is the throat lock, which we only use in our pranayama practice. And we kind of stay here with empty lungs for as long as it feels comfortable. And then again, when you're ready, we're just going to come into a couple more rounds. Again, we can inhale. Again, exhale, drawing up the pelvic floor, sucking the belly in. And again, once all the air is left the lungs, dropping the chin to chest, so Jalandhara Bandha. And again, staying here with empty lungs, as long as it feels comfortable. And then again, whenever you're ready, come into your final one. And then again, we can just breathe normally. Take a couple of moments, see how we feel. And then again, we can just bring those hands together, gently rubbing those hands together, creating a little bit of heat. And we can bring those hands up to the eyes and just gently blinking into the warmth and darkness of the hands. Now bringing the fingertips onto the eyelids, massaging out the eyelids, down the side to the jaw, to the chin. And then we're going to swing over onto our front. So we're going to come into a bit of a more kind of restorative session to begin with, and then come a little bit more into strengthening. To start with that stretching and then work a little bit more into strengthening. So again, just coming into your little kind of child stretch here. So again, you can have knees out to the side, knees wide out, you can have knees closer in, you can have knees right together. Stretching the arms out towards the front of the mat. We can again just relax the forehead onto the floor or onto a block if that feels better. And then again, we can just slowly come up here onto all fours. So we're going to start by coming into that little kind of shoulder stretch here, so that little puppy pose. So again, just kind of dropping our forearms onto the floor, walking forearms towards the outside edges of the mat, and then just dropping that forehead onto the floor, and just again allowing those chests just to kind of sink in a little bit. And then again, we can take those arms a little bit further forward if that feels okay. Again, keeping that chest sinking towards the floor. We might keep the forehead on the floor. We might turn the head to one side for a few breaths. And then turn the head to the opposite side. And then again, we can slowly bring those hands back in and just come back up here onto all fours. So now we're going to come into our little cat-cow spine roll. So again, just starting with that flat back position. Then again, as we inhale, kind of tucking the tailbone up, dropping the belly down, rolling the shoulder blades back, lifting up through the head. And then again, as we exhale, tucking toes under, tucking tailbone down, soaking the belly in, arching the back, dropping the head. And again, a couple more rounds, working with the breath. And then again, when we've done 3 rounds of them, we come into that slightly kind of little more kind of child up dog stretch. So stepping the hands a little bit further forward, we just inhale. We again exhale, pull back towards that little child stretch. And then again, we can inhale, coming back to flat back position. We can exhale, dropping the pelvis down, rolling up through the front of the body, coming into that little up dog. And then again, those couple more rounds as we pull back to that little forward fold, little child stretch. And then again, just slowly coming up into our little up dog. And then when we've done 3 rounds, we're just going to come into that little upward facing dog. We're going to hang out here for a couple of breaths. And then again, we're just going to slowly come down onto our fronts. So we're going to do a couple of stretches here before we come into some slightly more strengthening. So we're going to start with that little half frog pose. So bringing that kind of left knee out in line with the left hip. And just kind of, again, relaxing the head. You can be up on your elbows, you can have your kind of head gently relaxed down to the floor or onto a block if that feels better. And again, we can just stay here with that kind of left knee bend. Or again, if you prefer, you can also stretch your kind of left leg out to the side as well. And I find that comes just a little bit more into a kind of a bit of a glute and also a little bit more of a hamstring stretch. And again, we can just relax here for a couple of breaths. And then again, we can slowly bring that left leg back in. And then the final one we're going to do here on our left side is we're going to come into that little kind of quad stretch. So again, this is the one where you can either do it lying on your front, so just kind of bending your kind of left knee and bringing your left heel in towards your bum. Or again, you can kind of roll onto your right side if you prefer and do it that way. So again, it's the same pose, whichever you find is the most comfortable. And again, you can either just kind of press, this depends on how your quads are feeling. So again, if you do lots of running and cycling and stuff, you might want to go gently here. If, like me, you don't do much running, much for the quads, you might just kind of press your heel towards your bum. That might feel good. Some of you, again, might even kind of try to your heel towards kind of the outside of the hip. Or again, if you want to, you can do that variation where you kind of kick your foot into your hand. And again, I quite like that variation just because I find it opens up a little bit more into the shoulder as well, which I just find on the front of the chest, which I just find is quite nice. And then again, we can slowly come back onto our fronts. And then again, we're going to come on to that opposite side. So again, we can bring our right knee out in line with our right hip. We can then just relax here, kind of on the elbows. We can have the forehead onto the floor. And again, we can stay here with that knee bend, or again, we can stretch that leg out to the side if we prefer. And then again, we can bring that leg back in. We can again come into that little quad stretch. Again, either just bend the knee here, bring the heel to the bum, or again, roll more onto your left side and do the same thing. So again, kind of squeezing that right heel in towards the bum, or again, kind of kicking the foot into the hand there. If that variation works better for you, or you prefer that variation. And then again, we can just release. We can slowly come back up onto our front. So we can bring our hands underneath the shoulders. We can tuck the toes under. We can pull back towards a little child stretch with toes tucked under for a couple of breaths. And then again, we're just going to slide the hands in underneath shoulders. Get ready to come into our little downward facing dogs. Again, pressing into the hands, up between the shoulder blades, shifting the bum towards the heels as we inhale. Exhaling, taking the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Taking a few moments here to stretch out in your little down dog. And then again, we're just going to walk hands in towards feet, feet towards hands. Come into our little forward flop, forward fold. I'm just going to slightly adjust my camera. Okay. And then again, we can just gently kind of roll up. Vertebrae by vertebrae. And up into standing. So we're going to come into a little bit more strengthening with our stretching now. So again, we're going to do a couple of those runner's lunges. So again, just getting grounded in your Tadasana, however feels comfortable for you to stand. And again, we can just kind of relax the arms in. So we're going to inhale again, bring those arms up, clasp the hands together, exhale, roll shoulder blades back and down. Take that inhalation here, exhale, little side stretch. Inhale to center, exhale to the opposite side. And then again, inhaling, coming back to center, exhaling, taking the arms wide out to the side, clasping the hands, folding forwards, bringing the arms up behind, taking a couple of breaths here. And then just dropping those hands down. And again, we can bring fingertips onto the floor, we can bring hands onto a block if we feel a little bit more balance there. Going to play around a little bit here with the feet. So just keeping your feet flat on the floor to begin with. Can you shift your weight forwards and back a little? And then can you come a little bit more kind of onto the heels, up onto the toes. And then again, just getting grounded. And again, cupping the fingertips in line with the toes, shifting the weight towards our right foot, stepping our left foot back. Again, coming into that little runner's lunge. So again, we drop back knee, back foot onto the floor. We can have knee in line with ankle. We can have knee more in line with toes if we like the little Achilles. We can stay on hands, we can lift up a little bit more into our slightly higher position. So again, just whichever feels good here for your little psoas stretch, a little bit of a lunge. And then again, we can chuck in those little hamstring stretches. So again, we can start to shift the weight back, come towards that little kind of hamstring stretch. Keep the foot flat on the floor to begin with, shifting forwards and back a little. There seems to be lots of technical issues tonight, lots of you keep disappearing and then coming back. So. And then again, we can even kind of come up onto the heel, maybe tucking the toes under on that back leg, shifting forwards and back. Maybe again you shift right back a little bit so you kind of sit on your back heel, just whatever feels good here. A little stretch out. And then again, we can slowly come back to that runner's lunge. Again, that little IT band stretch now. So if we just walk our kind of right foot over towards that left hand, kind of turn on to the outside edge of that right foot as the sole of the foot faces that left hand. And then just slightly pull back a little bit here with the bum and the hips. And then again, we can shift forwards, we can walk that foot between the hands. We can plant the palms into the floor, press into the hands up between the shoulder blades, lift up through the back leg, tucking the toes under. Inhale in here. Exhale again, we can step right foot back. We can shift the weight of the shoulders over hands, coming into plank, pressing into the hands up between the shoulder blades. Into the toes through the heels, sucking the belly and sucking the ribs down. Again, engaging your kind of Mula Bandha, pelvic floor, Uddiyana Bandha. And then again, you can drop knees, feet to the floor. Pull back to child. Bend the elbows as you push through to your upward facing dog if you prefer that variation. And then again, we can pull back into a little child stretch. For a couple of breaths again, you can have toes tucked under or not, whichever you prefer. And then again, we can draw those hands underneath shoulders, press into the hands up between the shoulder blades, shifting the bum towards the heels, taking the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Coming into our little downward facing dog here as we stretch out. And then again, a little calf stretch. So again, we can step right foot behind left, press left heel towards the floor, tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then again, right foot in, step left foot behind, press the heel towards the floor, tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then again, back to your down dog. You can walk hands to feet, feet to hands. You can step through if you prefer. You can come into your little forward flop for a couple of moments. Ragdoll here. And then we're going to use our bandhas a little bit here in our forward fold and just see how they change the stretch. So if we inhale, come to that kind of flat back position, neck long, gaze down. Exhale and draw up your pelvic floor, Mula Bandha. Suck your belly in, Uddiyana Bandha. Take your belly a little bit more towards your thighs. You come into your little forward fold. Does that slightly change the stretch? And then again, we can roll up, hinge up, take your hands wide out to the side, lift up, and back into Tadasana. And then do all that on the opposite side now. So again, we can get grounded here in Tadasana. And again, we can just press down into the feet. We can inhale, bring the arms up, clasping the hands together. Exhale, rolling the shoulder blades back and down. Take an inhalation here. Exhale, little side stretch. Inhale into center, exhale into the opposite side. And then again, inhaling, coming back up to center, exhaling arms wide out to the side, clasping the hands together, squeezing the shoulder blades in, folding forwards. And then again, relaxing those hands down, coming into our little forward flop, forward fold. And again, we can play around a little bit here with the feet. So again, shift weight forwards and back a little. And then again, we can start to come maybe more up onto the toes, back onto the heels. And then again, coming back into your little forward fold, cupping the fingertips in line with the toes, shifting the weight towards the left foot, stepping right foot back, dropping that back knee, back foot onto the floor, pushing forwards a little bit, maybe knees in line with toes, maybe knees in line with ankle. And again, we can stay on the hands, we can come up a little higher, whichever we prefer. And then again, we can plant those hands, we can pull back again a little bit towards that hamstring stretch. And again, we can play around a little bit here. So again, release the stretch, deepen the stretch, or change the stretch. And then again, you can play around a little bit more by kind of coming up onto the heel, maybe taking it to your back leg as well, if you kind of shift back a little bit more. Or not, as you prefer. And then again, we can find that little IT band stretch. So again, if we shift forwards, we walk that left foot again now over towards our right hand. We turn onto that outside edge. So again, the sole of the foot faces the hand. We can pull back a little bit with the bum and the hips. And then again, we can walk that foot back. So it's kind of stacked underneath that left knee. We can press the palms into the floor, up between the shoulder blades, tuck the toes under, lift up through the back leg as we inhale. Exhale again, step into our plank. Shift the weight of the shoulders over the hands, press into the hands, up between the shoulder blades. Suck the belly in, suck the ribs in, band is engaged. Or imagine you're trying to kind of take your hip bones to your lower ribs, or your lower ribs to your hip bones, which is that same drawing up, drawing in sensation. And then again, we can drop knees, feet onto the floor, pull back to child, bend the elbows as you inhale, exhale, pushing through towards your little upward facing dog. And then again, we can pull back towards our little child stretch. And then again, we can slide hands underneath the shoulders, press into the hands up between the shoulder blades, tucking toes under, coming back into our little down dog here as we take a couple moments to stretch out. And again, we can come into that little calf stretch. So again, right foot behind left, left heel towards the floor, tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then again, swapping sides, stepping that left foot behind right. And then back into our little down dog. And again, we can walk hands to feet, feet to hands. You can step through, hop through, jump through. Come back into your little forward fold for a couple of breaths, a little forward flop for a couple of breaths. And then again, we can engage those banders a little bit here. So again, if we kind of inhale flat back, Exhale again, drawing up the pelvic floor, sucking the belly in, taking the tailbone or the bum up towards the ceiling, belly towards the thighs. And then again, we can roll up, hinge up, take those arms wide out to the side, lift up, and back into Tadasana. So we're going to do a couple more kind of little flowing sequences. Again, we're going to chuck in a little bit more strengthening. So again, just coming back into your Tadasana, getting grounded. Again, this time we can inhale, bringing those arms up. We just get that gaze up towards the thumbs a little. And then again, we can exhale, fold forwards. Then we can go into our little forward flop here for a couple of breaths. And then again, that little one working more with the bandhas. So again, lifting up as we inhale, flat back. Exhale, drawing up the pelvic floor, stuck in the belly in Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Taking your hip bones towards your ribs, belly towards your thighs. You can rest your hand on the back of the lower legs. You can grab hold of your big toe with your first two fingers, yoga toe lock. Drop the head down. And then again, cupping the fingertips in line with the toes, shifting the weight towards our right foot as we inhale. Exhale, stepping the left foot back. Dropping the back knee, back foot onto the floor here as we inhale. Exhale, lifting up into our low lunge. And then we're going to chuck in a little bit more of a back bend. Losing my balance, a little bit more of a back bend here. So again, if we clasp the hands together, bring the hands behind the back of the hips, or maybe hold onto your elbows, whichever you prefer. Inhale here, again, exhale, allow the belly to kind of sink down, pelvis to kind of sink down, belly to go forwards a little bit. And again, you might even kind of just gently take your elbows out to the side, chest forwards, head up. And then again, we can just release. Bring the palms back down onto the floor, tuck the toes under, lift up through the back leg as we inhale. Exhale again, step back into the plank. Hang out here for a couple of breaths. And then again, if you want to in plank, you can kind of lower down into like a low push-up. Drop the knees onto the floor, inhale, pushing through, upward facing dog, a little bit more strengthening. And then again, we can tuck toes under, slide hands in as we inhale, exhale, little down dog. Again, taking a couple of moments to stretch out here in down dog. And then again, we can shift the weight into the right foot, lift the left foot up. Bend the left knee, drop it over towards the right side, take the gaze underneath that right armpit. And then to step through, we're going to take that left leg up behind us, pointing up through the toes, inhaling. Exhaling, engaging the bandhas to create that space to help step that foot through. Bending the back knee as you inhale, exhale, rocking onto the front foot. Swinging the back foot through. Going back into your forward flop, forward fold. And then again, we can inhale, flat back. Exhale again, drawing up the pelvic floor, soaking the belly in, taking the belly towards thighs, tailbone up towards ceiling. And then again, we can roll up, hinge up, take the arms wide out to the side, lift up, and back into Tadasana. And then we're going to chuck all that in on the opposite side, so again, getting grounded here. Again, we can inhale, bringing the arms up, taking the gaze up towards the thumbs. Exhale, just a little back bend, if it feels okay, or just gazing up to your thumbs, which already starts to create a back bend. That might just feel enough. And then again, we can fold down through the midline of the body. We can come into forward flop. If you want to come into that kind of forward fold with the banders engaged, again, you can inhale, lift. Exhale, drawing up the pelvic floor, sucking the belly in. Coming a little bit more into it, just seeing how it changes the stretch. And then again, we can cup fingertips in line with the toes. Shift the weight towards our left foot this time. Step that right foot back. Drop that back right knee foot onto the floor as we inhale. Exhale, lifting up into that low lunge. And then again, if it feels okay, you can either bring hands onto the hips, you can clasp hands behind the head. You can stay here, just get the elbows wide out to the side. Or again, kind of sink in a little bit towards the lunge, but only if that feels okay for your lower back. So again, dropping the pelvis, taking the chest forwards a little bit. And then again, we can just release, planting the palms, tucking the toes under, lifting up through the back leg as we inhale. Exhale again back into plank. And again, we can come down in our normal way, or again, come down in a low push-up. So just kind of bending the elbows, keeping the weight on the hands and the toes. And then dropping the knees, feet onto the floor, pushing through towards your upward facing dog. And then again, we can tuck toes under, slide back as we inhale, exhale, little down dog. Again, we can shift the weight into the left foot, take the right leg up, bend the right knee, drop the right foot over towards the left side. Gaze underneath that left armpit. And then stretching that right leg up towards ceiling as we inhale. Exhale again, engaging those banders to step the foot through. Bend the back knee. Rock onto the front foot, swing the back foot through. Back into little forward flop, forward fold. And then again, if it feels okay, we can inhale flat back. Exhale again, drawing up the pelvic floor, sucking the belly in, engaging the cores, engaging the core, hips to ribs. Again, whichever kind of works for you. And again, we can hinge up, lift up, roll up. And back into Tadasana. And then we're going to do one last, two more warms and then chill out a bit. So getting that Agnisara, that core energy, fired up a little bit as we start to move into more of that spring energy. So again, just getting grounded here. And again, we can inhale, coming up. We take gaze up to thumbs. We might just stay here. You might feel okay to press into your feet, take your kind of pelvis forward, belly forward, chest up, head back. And then again, inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. And again, take a couple of moments here to stretch out. And again, you can flat back if you want to. Inhale, exhale again, drawing up pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, sucking belly in, Uddiyana Bandha. Hands can rest on the back of the lower legs, Yogi toe lock, whichever you prefer. And then again, cupping fingertips in line with the toes, shifting the weight towards that right foot as we inhale, stepping the left foot back. We're going to come into high lunge, so we're going to start to bend the front knee, but we keep that back left knee off the floor. We inhale here, and again, we're going to use those bandhas as we lift up. So again, that strength, that core. So inhaling, exhale, engaging the bandhas to lift up into your low lunge. Uddiyana means to lift up. Uddiyana Bandha, the core bandha. And then again, we can straighten that front leg and come into that little cactus hand, my favourite, as we inhale. Exhale again, bend the front knee, sink a little. And then again, we can straighten up, and then again, bringing hands onto your hips, slowly starting to fold forward. Taking your gaze towards your big toe, much more balance. And then we can drop the hands down onto the floor into pyramid pose or onto a block. Or again, you can bend your front knee a little bit or a lot. Or if you want to, you can bend your front knee shifting forwards and then going back. So you come into a little bit more of a dynamic stretch. Or you can just come into a static stretch, whichever you prefer. And then the next time we just shift back a little bit here. Again, how does it feel to engage your bandhas here? So if you inhale, you exhale again, draw your pelvic floor, suck the belly and bring your belly a little bit closer towards your thigh. Front leg can be a little bit or a lot bent. And then again, we can release. We can start to bend that front knee. Plant those palms onto the floor, press up between the shoulder blades as we inhale. Exhale, step back into plank. And then again, we can drop knees, feet onto the floor. We can lower down in that little push-up as we inhale. Drop the knees, push through towards your little upward facing dog. Tucking toes under, sliding hands in. Exhale, little down dog. This time we're going to work into a little bit of strengthening here into the arms. So we want to keep our shoulders quite wide in this pose, not kind of collapse the upper back. So we're going to start by taking our right leg up as we inhale. And then we're going to exhale, bend our right knee and try and kind of bring our right knee to the upper right arm. Inhale, take it back up. Exhale, knee towards upper arm. One more, keeping shoulders wide, pressing into your fingertips. And then when we've done 3 rounds, swapping sides, taking left leg up as you inhale, exhale, knee to upper arm, or just the elbow. Inhale, exhale, engage bandhas. Final one, shoulders wide. And then to step through, taking that left leg up, same kind of position. You step the foot through, you bend the back knee, rock up onto the front foot, swing the back foot through. Come into your little forward block, forward fold. And then again, we can inhale, flat back. Exhale, engage the bandhas a little. And then again, we can roll up, hinge up. Take the arms wide out to the side and back into standing. That seems a lot easier in my head than it did in reality. So I can tell I haven't done those for a while. So again, just coming back into Tadasana, final one, and then we're going to chill it out. So again, relaxing here for a couple of breaths. Inhaling again, bringing the arms up, gaze up towards the thumbs, hanging out here. Or again, if you want to, taking belly forwards, chest up, head back. And then again, inhale, lift. Exhale, folding forwards. Little flat back pose. Inhale. Exhale, again, engage the bandhas a little bit. And then again, cupping fingertips in line with the toes. Shifting the weight towards the left foot this time, stepping right foot back. Bending that front left knee, again, we're going to get ready to come into that high lunge. Again, pressing into the feet as we inhale. Exhale, engaging the bandhas as we lift up. And then again, straightening the front leg, bending the elbows as we inhale, cactus arms. Exhaling, sinking back in. And then final one, straightening up, hands onto hips as we inhale. Exhale, fold forward, pyramid pose. Gaze towards the big toe, dropping the hands down when you're ready. And again, you can hang out here, you can bend the front knee, you can shift forwards and back. And then again, the next time we come back towards that pyramid pose, how does it feel just to again inhale and again engage the bandhas a little bit? Again, we don't have to do this in our practice all the time, but it's going to be interesting to see how, I used to teach like this all the time, but again, it's interesting to see how it changes the stretch, or if it does change the stretch for you. And then again, we can bend front knee, come back into the lunge, press the palms into the floor as we inhale, exhale, step back into plank. And again, we can drop knees, feet onto the floor. We can lower down in a push-up, keep shoulders wide, drop knees onto the floor, push through towards our upward facing dog. And then again, tuck toes in, slide hands in as we inhale, exhale, down dog. And then final one, so we're going to do here, we're going to shift the weight to the right foot, lift left leg up as we inhale. Exhale, this time we're trying to bring our left knee towards the inside of the left upper arm. Inhale, exhale, shoulders wide, band is engaged. Like you're really trying to kind of keep a round upper back. And then again, when we've done 3 rounds, swap sides, right leg up. Exhale, knee to upper arm, inner upper arm. Quite hard to talk and do these. And then final one, inhale, right leg comes up. Exhale, step that right foot through. Bend the back knee, rock onto the front foot. Swing the back foot through. Come back into our little forward fold, forward fold. And then again, we can inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And then again, we can roll up, hinge up, take those arms wide out to the side, lift up. And back into Tadasana. So we're going to come down onto the front, onto our backs now. So we're going to come down in our little squat twist. So again, just bringing the feet together. And this is the one again, which is a little bit more balanced. If you do come up onto your heels, it's fine. So again, just bringing the hands into prayer position. And just slowly starting to squat down. And again, just coming as far as feels comfortable for the knees. And again, if you want to bring your fingertips down onto the floor, lower down that last little bit, fine. And again, we can just hang out here on our toes a little bit. Or you might have your heels on the floor, might be nowhere near. And again, if you want to come into a little twist, you can inhale. Exhale, you can kind of hook left elbow over right knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the opposite. I'm not very balanced today. Exhale to the opposite side. And then again, we can slowly come back forwards. We can again just have that little toes tucked under if it feels okay. So again, dropping knees onto the floor, a little bit of a plantar fascia stretch. And actually, for those of you who do like feet stretches, which I do, I'm one of the ones who kind of really like to stretch my feet out. And again, I think if you do climbing and running, it's really good to do it. And walking or anything, cycling, because you have your feet kind of shoved into little shoes all the time. So you can do it the opposite way. So you can take your feet flat onto the floor. And again, for a lot of us, this is challenging for the quads as well. And then you can kind of rock back. So lift your knees off the floor so you kind of rock onto the top of the feet. So now you're stretching out the top of the feet. And I know some people are like, this is like torturous. And then again, we can release. Oh, and then we can swing the legs round. We can come onto our backs. Oh, now we can just take a few moments. I was going to chuck some boats in, but that would be mean. So I'll do that next week. So again, we can come onto our backs. We can take a couple of moments here. We can maybe circle the knees, rock out that lower back here for a couple of moments. And then we're going to come into, again, a couple of our little twists, just to again stretch everything out, especially the upper body, because we've done quite a lot of upper body strengthening. So again, just coming down on to that little, what I was thinking was that little hip twist. So kind of feet and knees about hip distance, or maybe even slightly wider. And again, we can have arms stretched out to the sides, or again, we can have cactus arms. We can find that gives us a little bit more open through the front of the chest here. And then again, we can do that little kind of window wiper in here of the legs. Again, that little side to side movement. And then again, the next time we drop our legs over towards that right side, we're just going to allow the legs to sink towards the floor. And then again, we're just going to really allow the upper body to become nice and heavy here. So again, back of the hands presses into the floor, back of the shoulders, back of the kind of the sternum. Just let that upper body become really heavy. Just breathe a little deeper here, or just bringing the breath into the body so I really feel it. And then again, we can come back up to center. We can come straight into that little universal twist. Again, stretching out the right leg, keeping that left foot on the floor, left knee bent. And again, we can bring Bujab, bum and our hips a little bit more over towards that left side. So again, weight comes to right. Bring right hand over towards the knee or the thigh on the left side as we inhale. Exhale again, drawing that leg over. Playing around again with the position of the arms again. Arm out shoulder level, staying at cactus arms, sliding it a little bit higher, turning the head to the right. And then again, you can leave your leg as you have it, or you can drop that left foot onto the floor as well a little bit. And then again, we can slowly come back onto our backs. We can just swap sides in a moment. So again, just coming into that kind of cactus arms again, walking our feet so they're about hip distance or slightly wider. Again, we can have that little window wiper into each side. And then again, the next time we drop our legs over towards our left side this time, just again, relaxing those legs towards the left side. And again, just that awareness of allowing that upper body to become nice and heavy. And then we can slowly come back to centre. Go into that little universal twist here. So again, we can start to stretch out that left leg. Keep that right foot on the floor, right knee bent. And again, you can budge the hips a couple of inches over towards that right side. We can again bring our left hand over towards right thigh, right knee. We can inhale. We can exhale, draw that leg over so we can roll over a little bit more towards that kind of left side. Play around with that right arm, so going to keep it shoulder level, cactus arm, take it a little higher, do we turn the position of the head. And then again, we can slowly come back onto our backs. And then the final last couple of ones here, we're just going to come into a little supported bridge. Again, just to kind of stretch out through the upper body. Again, really stretch out through the arms, a little bit through the hip flexors, the glutes a little. So again, just dropping those hands, or bringing those arms down by the sides. Again, slightly kind of rolling shoulder blades back and down. Hips and, feet and knees can be roughly hip distance off. You might prefer them a little bit wider. So just whatever helps to kind of let you push into your feet and lift up. So again, we can press into the feet and the hands. We can kind of lift up through the thighs, up through the belly. And then again, this is where we grab our block, our kind of hard back book with a cushion on top. We can just relax the kind of the back of the hips on whatever we've got to hand, whatever prop we've got to hand. And then again, we can just relax here for a few breaths. Again, take hands out to shoulder level. We can bring arms up over the head. We can leave the legs as they are. We can come into a longer bridge position. If you find, again, it pulls a little bit in your lower back, maybe just stretch out one leg. And then we can swap sides in a few moments. And again, you can bring one leg in if you've just got one leg stretched out. Stretch the opposite side out. And then if you want to, you can stay in your bridge, or if you're like me, you like that kind of little supported kind of shoulder stand. You can just sometimes bend your knees, bring the knees up onto the chest, maybe just stretch legs up towards the ceiling. Again, this one you can also do with the legs against the wall, just like a couple of pillows underneath the bum. It's very similar, so your bum's just a little bit higher. It's a very similar stretch, but again, just really allow the kind of The back of the arms, the back of the shoulders, back of the head, just press down into the floor. So just that weight through the upper body. And again, you can play around your feet here as well if you like to. It's like do a little bit of foot stretching, a little bit of circling of the ankles, playing around a little bit with your flexibility in your ankles and your feet and your toes. And then again, we can just slowly bend the knees. We can find the feet with the floor with the feet. We can bring our arms back down by the sides. We can press back up into our bridge, sliding the block out. And then again, rolling back down vertebra by vertebra as we come back onto our backs. And again, just taking that couple of moments, circling the lower back, stretching out however you feel you want to stretch out. And then you can just get ready in a moment to come into your little Shavasana. So again, if you want to grab any warmer clothes, any cushions, any blankets, turn off any lights, get nice and comfortable and cozy. And again, we can just kind of get comfortable here on our backs, or maybe not even on your back. You might be on your side, you might be on your front, you might be lying on your sofa or your bed, just whatever feels comfortable here. Yeah, some people particularly don't like lying on their backs. Again, if you prefer to come into a different position, that is totally fine. So again, just taking those few moments here to get comfortable. Make any little adjustments. And then again, we're just going to slowly start to just bring our awareness to the breath. So again, we just start to breathe a little deeper or just become aware of the breath. And start to bring that breath and the awareness into the body. So again, just breathe in from the top of the head, right down into the fingers, the toes. Again, just focusing into any little areas of tension, tightness, discomfort in the body. And again, as we breathe out, just relaxing, releasing those areas. And just allowing those areas to soften, lengthen, become nice and heavy. And again, just breathe in from the top of the head, right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we exhale, just allowing the weight of the body to just sink down into the floor. Just let everything soften, release. In the breath and the awareness now into the legs, again from the hips, the thighs, the knees, calves, shins, ankles, tops of the feet, toes, soles of the feet and the heels. As we breathe out, just letting go of any pain, discomfort held anywhere in the legs. And then just the exhalation, just allowing the legs to become nice and heavy. The legs just sinking down into the floor. Bringing the breath and the awareness now into your arms. We're going from the shoulders into the upper arms, the elbows, forearms, wrists and hands, fingers, thumbs. And again, as you breathe out, Just allowing those arms to become nice and heavy. Let go of any tension, discomfort in the arms. And just allowing the weight of the arms to just sink down. Nice and heavy, nice and relaxed. And breathe in to the front of the body, so getting the pelvis, the diaphragm, chest, lungs, ribs, collarbones. And again, as we breathe out, just allowing the weight at the front of the body sink into the back of the body, into the floor. Breathing into the back, so again from the shoulder blades down through all those big back muscles into the glutes. And again, as you breathe out, let go of any pain, discomfort held anywhere in the back. We can breathe into the spine, so again from the top of the spine to the back of the skull, that breath flowing down through the spine, the discs, vertebrae, into the tailbone, making that spine all fluid and flexible. And then again, as we breathe out, just letting go of any pain, discomfort held in the spine. And breathing into the whole of the back and the spine. And again, as you breathe out, just allowing the back to relax. Nice and heavy, nice and soft. Breathing up into the neck, the front of the neck, back of the neck. As we breathe out, relaxing the neck. Breathing up into the face, the chin, the mouth, cheeks, the nose, the ears, the eyes, the forehead. As we breathe out, relaxing the face. And breathing up into the top of the head, back of the head. And as we breathe out, just allowing the head to be nice and heavy. And we can just breathe again from the top of the head right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we breathe out, let go of any pain, discomfort held anywhere in the body. And again, just breathe in from the top of the head right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we exhale, just allowing the weight of the body sink down into the floor. And everything soften, release. So we can just bring a little bit of gentle movement to the body. Breathe a little deeper. Start to wiggle the fingers, the toes a little. Maybe take the head from side to side. When we're ready to bring a little bit more movement into the body, we can do a gentle forearm stretch. And we can bring our hands together if we want to, gently rubbing the hands together, create a little bit of heat. We can bring the hands up to the eyes, again, just blinking into the warmth and darkness of the hands. Bring the fingertips onto the eyelids, gently massaging out the eyelids, onto the temples and down the sides of the jaw, to the chin. And then we can just bring our knees up into the chest. We can rock out that lower back here for a couple of moments. And again, you can just slowly roll to your side whenever you're ready. And gently finding your way up into seated. Or not, you don't have to, you can just stay on the floor if you would prefer. That's totally fine. So thank you very much, guys.